we enter this year's Championship semi-final second legs, we are a little bit evenly poised. Luton Town and Huddersfield Town could not be separated. As for Forest Sheffield United, only one goal separates the two. But what's going to happen this week as we enter the final game before the playoff? Here we go, let's get into it. Prediction video today. We look forward to the 2021-2022 Championship playoff semi-finals, and it is of course the second legs, and we'll get to that in just a second. If you knew where you've been, smash your subscribe and keep back to all things Rovers related, Championship related, world football related. We got it all here, boys. And well, Rusty, of course Rovers could and probably should have been here in the playoffs, but of course they're not here. They're home. They're packing the bags, off to the beaches. But of course we have a tasty semi-final second legs right around the corner, and of course we're going to take a look at those in just a second. Of course, big shout out to my VIPs. They're the patrons, guys. You know who you are. Smash your subscribe and bang up to all things Rovers related, Championship related, everything here under one roof. Here we go then, shall we? Of course, revisit the last results, of course, and bring you bang up to date with our predictions, your predictions, of course, as we move into that second leg, which, of course, is tomorrow. That's right. One of the two teams will find out if they make the final. The other two will have to wait another 24 hours before they duke their fate. So let's get into it then, shall we? Take a little look. We'll remind ourselves, of course, how the table finished. Of course, Fulham are there, Bournemouth are there, but who's going to join them? We've got four teams remaining as it stands: Huddersfield, Nottingham Forest, Sheffield United, and of course Luton Town, the surprise package, the dark horses. And for me, if they don't get it done this time, they're not going to get it done next time. They won't be back next time around. However, the other three, perhaps they could be contenders no matter what happens over the next 48 hours. Of course, Barnsley, Derby and Peterborough are down. Rovers, of course, smack there in 8th, which is not too shabby, but realistically we're a little bit down in the dumps about it still. Now, before all that, let's recap, of course, the results that did take place this past couple of days in the first legs. And we kicked it all off at Kenilworth Road. That's right, Luton Town up against Huddersfield Town, and guess what? They could not be separated. I actually remember the 1-0 win for Luton Town on this one, but of course ended up 1-1 in the end. Of course, the game that I actually felt Luton Town dominated. I thought they were a little bit hard done by not to take an upper hand into the second leg, but just paper margins, of course, separated two sides. Daniel Sinani with the opening goal, breakaway chance, of course, tucked it in the right-hand side. Good game, good goal. And of course, I thought at that point Luton Town were going to collapse, but no. Nathan Jones has got these guys working an absolute treat. They're fighting to the bitter end, and they did just that with a cracking set piece. And Sonny Bradley tipped on home to put the Hatters right back in it, 1-1. That's, of course, at half-time as well. And again, the second half, Luton Town should have wrapped this game up in this first instance. But, of course, we'll have to do it all again this time around, of course, at the John Smith's, Kirklees, McAlpine, whatever you want to call it, heading into this one. Let's take a look at, of course, the other semi-final. That's right, it was on Saturday. I actually did catch a bit of this game, about 75%. Didn't see the first goal, Jack Coulson, on 10 minutes, giving Nottingham Forest a lead on the road. That's right. And, of course, they actually doubled their lead with Brennan Johnson, another breakaway fast-scoring goal there to give them a 2-0 upper hand lead. But Sandberg gave the Blades a little sliver of a hope with a late consolation goal. 2-1 it was in the end. So I actually remember the 3-1 win. So I'm a little bit embarrassed by my prediction. I did think Sheffield United could raise their game. But you know what? I think this Nottingham Forest side are pretty special none the same. They're just so high tempo, so in your face. And it does remind me maybe of Sheffield United of old, of Chris Wilder's Sheffield United way back when. And to be honest with you, I did think that Sheffield United, well, I was expecting them to win this first leg, but I always anticipated a Forest fight back in the second leg, and that has not changed. I think they're going to go into this with their tails up now, not in the Forest, and I think they could actually get over the line, of course. But we'll have a look at my picks in just a second. Let's take a little look, of course, at how you guys got on with your own picks. Of course, you can all get involved with the second legs. There's still 3 points left if you want to try and sneak in and win the title. We'll have a little look at it. But of course, just a couple of you guys got both right, and one of those was Ultra Murat with 2. Daddy Calls up there as well with Deepak the Great, also picking up 2 points as well. And a big shout out to the patrons who will continue to back the channel. What about, of course, the master? This is the mini leaderboard, sorry, from January onwards. It's actually Shane O'Donnell with 4 points clear at the moment. He cannot be caught in the mini leaderboard, but can he be caught, or can the leader be caught, whoever that may be, in the master leaderboard? Of course, we'll have to find out as the bitter end, but of course, keep predicting. You just might be in it to win it. Of course, yeah, and a big shout out once again to the patrons as well. But anyway, we are going to build up for that semi-final second legs. Who out of the 4 will actually make the final? We'll take a look at it in just just a second. Of course, this is the link here. Of course, if you want to get involved with the predictions and get your name in lights. Let's get into it. Of course, take a look at the second legs of the semi-finals. Kick it all off with this bodger. It is Huddersfield Town up against Luton Town. So let's take it on. I'll look at it, of course. Now, these two sides will lock horns on Monday, the 16th of May. It's actually a 2:45 kickoff for me in the USA, 7:45 for you guys in the UK. Of course, Huddersfield, currently managed by Carlos Cobian, done a fantastic job since he's taken over here. Up against Luton Town, who have, of course, also been managed by a fantastic Nathan Jones, a bullshit shithouse merchant, Nathan Jones. Fantastic manager of the year in the EFL. Can he get over the line and get one step closer to ultimate glory? We'll have a look at it shortly. He's played each other 14 times, these two sides since 1995. 5 wins for Huddersfield, 3 for Luton, and 6 draws. Of course, Huddersfield unbeaten though in the last 6, 83% form. They are a team that have slowly but surely done their business this season in the Championship, and they're there on merit. As for Luton Town, of course, no one anticipated them to be up there. I did anticipate them to have a strong season though. If you go back to my early door insane pickaroo way back in May, June last year, I did have them in the top 10. I didn't think they'd go as high as 6, but fantastic season for Nathan Jones. And again, you take Nathan Jones out of Luton Town and they'll fall apart. You put Nathan Jones in another scenario, he fails. But of course, these two are made to be together. It's like Fergie and bloody Manchester United. Nathan Jones and Luton are meant to be. Yeah, this is it, of course, and I do hope that they can challenge at least to get to the final and make this a spectacle on Monday night. Of course, now these two sides have played each other 3 times this season. They opened up with a 0-0 draw at Kenilworth Road. However, last time they played each other at the McAlpine was a 2-0 win for Huddersfield. That was back in April 2022. Meanwhile, of course, we just duked it out to a 1-1 draw way back when. There's only been 1 win out of these last 5 games between the two sides. That was when Huddersfield played Luton and Huddersfield. That was a 2-0 win, of course, back in April of this campaign. Meanwhile, last time around, though, if we turn, in fact, was it last time around? It was back in July 2020. Luton Town did pick up a 2-0 win at Huddersfield way back in match number 43 of that season. But they come into this, of course, on the back of a bit of a weird one. Their last away day was that 7-0 drubbing by Fulham. As for Huddersfield Town's last home match, there was a 2-0 win against Bristol City. But the odds, what about the odds for this game heading into this? Now, this is, of course, for the course of the duration of the 90 minutes. 30-10 is your Huddersfield, 23-10 is your underdogs. That is Luton Town, and 11-5 is the draw here. I do anticipate a bit of a different approach for this match for Luton Town. They might start on the front foot in the first 5 or 10 minutes, but then I think, regardless if they're up in front or level, they're going to be pulling on the brakes and they're just going to grind it out to the bitter end. I smell another draw here. I think Luton Town are not going to let go. I think they're going to be a 0-0 draw on the night after 90, and of course possibly into extra time, but I do anticipate Huddersfield Town will come out at the end of it, whether it is possibly on penalties, to go through to yet another playoff final. Goodness gracious me, for me, I got Huddersfield Town going through to the final in the first leg, despite a well-organised Luton Town, who, again, if you look at both the ways these two teams have done it this season, the budgets have been great, fantastic. It's the way you want to do it. It's no parachute payments here, well, perhaps anyway, but it's the way it is, and well done to both of them for getting this stage. But of course, one of them will go one step further in this one. Next, of course, we have, of course, the Zinger chicken dinner. Is, of course, at the City Ground. It's actually taking place a day later on, Tuesday, the 17th of May. Again, 2:45 for me, 7:45 for you guys over in the UK. Of course, Stevie Cooper's Nottingham Forest up against Paul Heckingbottom's Sheffield United. Now, Forest they won the managerial lottery, the managerial draft, where they picked up Stevie Cooper, and what a marriage that's been, of course. In fact, what a job he's done. Period as a manager since breaking away as a coach. He's done fantastic stuff with Swansea. Got them into the playoffs, I think, back-to-back occasions there. I was very surprised to see him let go at the end of the campaign, but of course he picked up by Forest, and of course they've looked at a completely different beast with him at the helm, of course, running away with it as well, and dragged them from 0 to hero, and potentially, again, 90 minutes or a game anyway, away from a playoff final. Date at Wembley awaits, but of course Sheffield United have been there, seen there and done it as well. However, Paul Heckingbottom, for me, not really the greatest man manager. Of course, he's doing an okay job with Sheffield United, but to be honest with you, if you were to flip these guys around, who would be the better manager? I would go with Stevie Cooper. I think he could get a harmony or a chorus out of a bunch of ants. You know what I mean? He could work a treat with anything. If you give him a bunch of tools, he'll build you a mansion. He's a very, very skilled football tactician, and he's done a fantastic job here at Forest. But the job's not done yet. They do come into this match with the slightly, of course, the upper hand. But, of course, can they get over the line in the second leg? So they played each other 32 times in 1987. 10 wins for Forest, 10 wins for Sheffield United, and 12 draws. Of course, just one defeat, though, in the past 6 for Nottingham Forest, 75% form. And, of course, Sheffield United coming to just one defeat past 5, 58% form over the last 6. The biggest win, though, of course, over Forest was a 3-0 win. They'll need something like that this week. Of course, up against Forest, who also their biggest win over Sheffield now was a 3-0 win. In fact, Forest have scored 35 goals now against, compared to 32 for Sheffield United over the course of those 32 matches, stretching all the way back to 1997. Of course, last time they played each other at Forest, it was a 1-1 draw. That was back in November 2021. They also duked it out to a 1-1 draw in the league at Bramall Lane, but of course, they go into this on the back of that 2-1 loss at Bramall Lane, which was just a couple of days ago. So Forest will come into this, the last home match. It's actually been a while ago now. It was a 5-1 drubbing of Swansea. That's Stevie Cooper's old boys. That was way back on the 30th of April. As for Sheffield United's last away match was a 3-1 win for QPR. They need something along those lines if they're going to get over the line and, of course, into the playoff final indeed. Of course, when you look at the players on paper, I do think Sheffield United have the better squad. I really do think so. But, you know, I think you can have as many cool team players as you like. Look at Manchester United right now; they're falling to bits. They have all the gear but no idea. As for, of course, Forest, they do have some gear, but they've got all the idea. So I do think it's going to be the match will not be won on the pitch; it'll be won in the dugout. And of course, I feel Stevie Cooper is the man, of course, that's going to take at least Forest to another level, whether it is the distance or whether it is just to the final itself. And again, if they don't get it right this time, not in Forest, I think next season they are going to be the team to avoid. Of course, imagine a Stevie Cooper Nottingham Forest throughout the duration of a season. They're going to be pretty much unstoppable along the way. Even, of course, with the big boys coming down, Watford, Norwich, and perhaps Burnley, Everton, Leeds, whoever it is, are going to join them. But of course, I do feel Stevie Cooper is a very, very unique manager that's done a fantastic job. He ain't going to win no beauty contest, heck no, but I do think he's going to win today on Tuesday. That's right, 2-0 in the end. I feel will be the final score on the night. Of course, yes, I come back with my tail between the legs from that 3-1 pick earlier. I just thought Sheffield United would take advantage from the end of the season form at home at Bramall Lane, get a bit ahead of themselves. But ultimately, regardless of all that, whatever happened in that game, I still had in my gut that Forest would go through to the final. I do think they would have turned that goal around. It would have been a 3-3, and they probably would have squeaked through on penalties because they would have been at home. 4-1 it will be on aggregate. Forest will go through, and in my eyes, will take on Huddersfield Town in an absolute zinger chicken dinner of a playoff final indeed at Wembley. Be sure to get your picks in here, EFL Championship. But before we bounce out of here, let's take a look at the odds. The bookmakers' odds to go the bloke. Can I have a little look? I don't think I got them. I don't even have I've got no odds. But I do feel when you look at those four sides, Forest are the team to stop. I think if they get through to the final, get past Sheffield United, they could be trailblazing all the way through, and we might even see an emphatic scoreline in that final up against Huddersfield Town. But that's my early picks. Of course, form, injuries, all that kind of stuff. You know, voodoo dolls, all that kind of witchcraft, all that stuff could have a bearing. So come back, of course, we'll take a look at the prediction final. But of course, that is my picks for the semi-final. That is it, guys. Be sure to give us a love, smash your subscribe, smash your thumbs up, smash the little bell, and of course, back, of course, for the final. But until then, boys, I'll see you soon for the next.